Hello and welcome to the Acacia Flores Vocal Studio. If you are here because you would like to know what our first lesson or any voice lesson with me would be like, you're in the right place. So I'm just going to go over how a voice lesson with me works. And the first thing we do after introductions and learning your goals is called body mapping. And this is how we prepare ourselves to sing. This is going to put our body positioning in a good place to take good breaths and allow us to focus on singing instead of how we're standing. So we're going to focus on standing first, and then we go into singing. So some parts of body mapping, including keeping your feet shoulder width apart, making sure you don't lock your knees, making sure your hands are comfortably at your sides, that you're not standing too far forward or too far back, that you've got your weight planted right in the center of your foot, and making sure that everything's kind of in alignment to be able to allow you to breathe your best, to sing your best. And so that's what body mapping is. And then we go into warm-ups. The method of singing that I learned is the bel canto method. So that's what I use. And bel canto means beautiful singing in Italian. And so I use a lot of warm-ups and techniques that have to do with that method. So let's go into some warm-ups. Warm-ups would be about the first 20 minutes of your lesson usually is just warming up, doing technique exercises, breathing exercises, all kind placement exercises, just learning all the different aspects that you can carry over into your singing to help you sing your best. So this is where we engage the brain and the muscles to learn the tools to give you to sing a variety of songs with confidence. So let's start with our first warm-ups. What we generally start with is what we call sliding, and this helps warm up all parts of the vocal cord. And so our first one is usually hum slide. So you would have your mouth closed like you're going to hum, but you would have it, your jaw open like you're saying ah on the inside, ah, with your lips shut. So and that gives you the most space in your mouth so that you're hearing yourself the best, and that when you do open your mouth, you've got a big giant ah that's going to fill the room. So that's kind of the thought behind that one. So let's start with our hum slides. Typically we would do about 10 or more ascending, so up the scale hum slides, just for starting. So we would go about maybe an octave and a half, and that would allow us to start slowly. So we're not going to the very top of our range or the bottom of our range to begin warming up. Once we're warmed up after 6 or 7 exercises, then we can start doing high and low things, and our voices are to the point where your vocal cords are going to be more responsive to it once you've warmed up a little bit. So we start with just some basic ones. So the hum slide goes like this. And I kind of go back and forth. You don't have to. With body mapping, we've already put you in kind of the best position to singing. If you're kind of going back and forth, that's going to kind of throw off your breath and things of that sort to not put you in a good position. So don't follow my lead when I'm going like this. I'm just trying to make sure that you're going smoothly up and down instead of that we really want to connect those with the hum slide. Then we go up. And we do that until like an octave and a half. So we would just keep going up a little bit. Then the next one is the descending slide, and that one goes like this. So up here in my register, it's si, so you do slide all the way through that one, and then we go down. Si, sorry. So that's this one. Si, and then we would keep going down you know, another octave and a half, so that gets you a little bit lower. But like I said, we're not to the point in our warm-up yet where we can go all the way down to our lowest. We want to do a few more exercises before we start to stretch that low. Other exercises that we would do in our warm-ups include breathing exercises. So we're going to do one now. And this one is an unvoiced one. So this is solely focusing on the breath. So what we would do is we would breathe in for 4 counts. So you're going to take a big breath in to the count of 4, and then you would breathe out on the letter F. So you're going to go and you're going to try and do that as not necessarily as hard as you can, but pretty close to it. So you want to do it to a point where you it takes a lot more air to do that than it does to sing a long note. So you're going to run out of air a lot faster than you would just by singing a really long note. So that's the point, is to build up those stomach muscles to the point where you can sing those really long notes. So this is an exercise that helps to build those muscles. So breathe in for 4 and out on F. And you would just keep going until you run out of air. An important part of that is that you don't run out of air to the point where you're passing out. So you may not want to do a lot of those breathing exercises in a row because you might get a little lightheaded. If you're doing enough of them, you might feel it in your abs the next day that you've got a little bit of a workout there, challenging those muscles. After breathing exercises, we focus on placement. And placement refers to where the sound is formed in your mouth to give you the best sound at the back of the concert hall or the other side of the room, so that it's the most pleasant sound and it carries the farthest and things of that sort. So that's what placement means, is that you're doing things in your mouth that's going to improve your sound quality out here. So some of those include singing and that exercise focuses on we're going from the NG, very closed nasal, and then we're opening to an E, but we're keeping that same placement and then extending that same placement into the ah. So we're keeping that tone the same throughout, even though we're changing our vowels and the shape of our lips and teeth and mouths. We're still keeping that same space on the inside, and that's really important for a lot of styles of music, is that we have good placement. And then another one that we would do for placement, we did E and ah on the last one. Now we're going to do oo and E. And this one, it goes like this. Wee, 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 ah. And so those are some placement exercises we do. Additional exercises that we do, we work on some belting, and one that we do for that is, now when we were doing those other ones, even though we're going up, most of those are going to be in your head voice. When you go up to those high notes, it's just going to sound light and pretty. Where with belting, this is where you're going to get those powerful high notes that that are so characteristic of musical theater and operas, is hitting those big brassy high notes. So we're going to try one of those exercises now, and it goes like this. How high is the sky? How high is the sky? How high is the sky? And you noticed I kind of used my hand on that one. When you're just starting out, it might be, you're not used to kind of learning how to belt, so you might be hitting those high, airy high notes. So using hand move gestures and making sure that you do the at the beginning of the high is gonna really focus your air to be able to hit those powerfully. So so that's a belting exercises. We also do some lip work exercises. One of them is a minor key. So we'll do that one with you one time. Many mumbling mice are making merry music in the moonlight. Mighty compromise. So that one is working with warming up your lips and making sure that you can sing fast phrases and eventually get into foreign languages where there's a lot of different consonants and sounds that you're forming with your lips that you might not naturally think to do. So we're warming up our lips so that we can be in a better place in our brains and with our lip muscles to do that type of lip work. And another one that I do is, so we did M's before, and now another lip one that I do is with the letter B. And this one goes, Barbara, baby bubbles, and a bumblebee. So we typically do, like I said, about 20 minutes of warm-ups. So far we've done sliding, breathing, placement, belting, lip work. Then we go into technique exercises like solfege, which is, you've probably heard do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, you know, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. You know, if you've ever seen The Sound of Music or taken a choir class, that's kind of your typical warm-up are those syllables. And those syllables are called solfege. And so we do a little bit of that. Just to start out with, we just do the first 5 and then come back down on them. So we would go do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do. And when you come for your lesson, I'll probably give you a cheat sheet that has most of my warm-ups written out and for you to take home and to practice with. So that's do, re, mi. And then we do some on letters. Like the next exercise is a voiced breathing exercises. So before we did the breathing exercise on, you know, and that was not something you sang, but just spoke. And this next one is a breathing exercise you sing. It's very long. And that's what makes it a breath exercise, is you're focusing on doing a very long musical phrase without breathing in the middle. So and we do that on numbers. So I go like this. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you would kind of go until you start to run out of breath. But that trains those stomach muscles to sing long phrases. And then one of the last exercises we do focuses on fast runs. So, you know, which are characteristic in pop music. So we would do something like this. Fee! And then we keep going up. Fee! And we go faster and faster. Fee! 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 And we keep going faster and faster and higher with that to focus to get those fast moving runs, your mouth and your brain and your body used to that type of song work. So those are the first 20 minutes of the lessons would be exercises like that. And then we would move into song selections. Typically, your first voice lesson, I would probably do about an hour. So we would go over all of the warm-ups in detail, and then we would talk about goals and things of that, and we would start 1 to 2 new songs. And so songs that I like to start with, we talked about Do, Re, Mi, and that is a good song from the Sound of Music musical that we would incorporate. So that'll teach you solfege. You've probably heard it. Do, a deer, a female deer. And so that would be one of our, probably one of our first song selections for the musical theater genre. And, you know, other selections from musical theater include songs for Les Miserables. For kids, there's Castle on a Cloud and Les Mis. For teenagers, there's On My Own. And then for there's a lot of also songs for males in there. And so I like Les Mis because it's very versatile. And so those are some selections from musical theater. We also do classical. So we've got art songs, folk songs, beginning arias, which are usually foreign language pieces. So those are a little more advanced that I would start a little bit later. So we start with like Mozart. He's got some good technical pieces that aren't extremely difficult. So we would probably learn some of those in English first. And then once you're comfortable singing classical music in English, then we can move on to some classical music in Italian and German and French and some of those other foreign things, if you're comfortable with it, if that's a goal you have. One of my favorite operas to teach beginners from is The Marriage of Figaro. So that is a Mozart opera, and it's got some good alto songs like Voi che sapete, which is the character Cherubino who sings that aria. And then there's Un moto di gioia, which is Susanna, the lyric soprano, a simple aria that she sings. That one's sometimes cut from the opera because it's a little simple and it makes the opera really long if she sings all of her songs. So, but it's one that's a beginner opera piece that we can learn eventually. So we'd work on English first. Besides musical theater and classical, I do some pop. You know, we throw in some Disney, we throw in some more modern references. We've got some soft rock. For men, I like to do some Elvis tunes and R&B. I've got some Alicia Keys songbooks and things of that sort we can work on. And so your first lesson would be usually an hour. After that, you can choose a half hour, which would give you the warm-ups plus 1 to 2 songs to work on every week, or the full hour, and that would be the warm-ups plus 2 to 4 songs to work on every week. Now, you may be wondering, why do we have to do warm-ups at each lesson? Well, I want to make sure your voice is prepared, number one, and we also are working on a lot of techniques. So we're going to be making sure that I'm hearing you doing all the things that those exercises are supposed to be doing, like good placement, the belting. So making sure you're doing it right and making sure you're not going to do it in a way that's going to harm your voice, your vocal cords, or larynx or anything of that. So that's my goal, is to teach you good technique and make sure that you're not doing any harm. So my old piano teacher used to say, it's not practice that makes perfect, but perfect practice that makes perfect. That's why it's so important to have a teacher to make sure that you're learning all these things properly and that they're carrying over into the music that you're learning in a way that's not going to do any damage, or in a way that doesn't necessarily sound right to, people who you might audition for, or, if whatever your goals may be. So that's my goal, is to give you the tools to succeed as a vocalist. And so I hope you learned a lot from this recording, and I hope to be able to meet with you soon. I do usually meet from my vocal studio in Clarksburg, Maryland, right here. But I'm exploring options to meet through Google Hangouts or other options for online lessons as well. So let me know if that's something you're interested in. As far as practicing throughout the week, I would send you a recording, just like, well, not necessarily like this one, probably just an audio recording that you can practice with throughout the week with your warm-ups on it, and with the tunes that we worked on, so that you have those notes that I gave you to practice with as well. And I will provide you with sheet music unless you pick the tune. Now, if you do pick the tune, I do have, the flexibility to learn what you want to learn. However, there are some things that I have reservations about, like if it's something that you've been working on for a long time without a vocal coach, there may be some bad habits that you weren't aware of. And when you've been learning it for a long time, it's hard to break those habits. So sometimes I might say, let's start over with a new song, because this one's got some things that it's going to be hard for you to break out of. Or, yeah, that's why it's important to meet with your vocal coach, usually once a week or every 2 weeks, is so that you aren't picking up those bad habits and I can put them in check before they become learned habits that are very hard to break it and get correctly after you've learned them wrong. You know, that muscle memory, when you do it over and over again, your brain and your muscles just automatically do it that way, and it's hard to get into another state of mind to change those habits. So that's one reason that I like to work on tunes that you're not necessarily 100% familiar with and haven't been working on for a long time. But I am open to it if it's something you've been working on with a previous instructor, or something that you want to do, but it's not something that you've been working on forever. Those are options that we can do. So I look forward to meeting you if lessons are something you're interested in. If not, I hope that this was an informative post about what a voice lesson is like. Thank you. Bye-bye.